Never compare yourself negatively to others and don't give up. I spent so much of my life comparing myself to other people that I thought were doing better than me. But you really can't do that because they're not you. They don't face the same challenges that you do every day. They haven't had the same life or experiences, and it's not worth it. You have to spend your life focusing on you because, in all honesty, your life revolves around yourself. You're the only person that is a permanent factor in your life. If you spend it comparing yourself to other people, you're going to miss out on all the amazing things that you could do.
I'm Peter McCully. That's Jessica MacNiel of White Rock. The 16-year-old is the reigning Miss Teenager World. We'll talk about winning the crown and what's next when Today in BC continues.
Hey, it's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic. Join me on the Moj on Sports podcast on Black Press Media at todayinbc.com. Listen into conversations with well-known athletes and celebrities as we look behind the scenes at these successful people. Listen in to the Moj on Sports podcast on todayinbc.com. You'll also find the Moj on Sports podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, YouTube, and Google Podcasts, as well as mojonsports.com.
Thanks for joining us today, Jessica.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Jessica, you've been studying acting and dance growing up. So tell us about what kind of classes you've been attending.
I've been dancing since 3 years old, and I've trained at many different studios depending on where I was living. Currently, now that I live in White Rock, I'm training at Ignite Dance Center, where I'm surrounded by a group of amazing mentors and teammates. I train in different styles of dance. I take jazz, ballet, stage, hip hop, lyrical, contemporary, tap, and I previously trained in point. And also been acting since I was about 11 years old. I started my acting training at Arts Umbrella and then furthered it at Vancouver Young Actors School. From there, I was signed by an agency, Webster Talent, with Helen Campbell, who's an amazing agent. And yeah, now we're just waiting to see what's next through competitions in dance, which can be very hectic, and pins and whatnot.
Sounds like you've been busy, and you're heading into grade 12 this year on top of that. Are your favorite classes in school related to the arts in any way?
A little bit, yes. My favorite class in school is English. My second favorite class is social justice. I really love to write about things that I'm passionate about, whether it be poetry or essays or short stories, but it comes very naturally to me. So English is definitely a place where I succeed in school. And social justice, it's a class where everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. I fairly enjoyed being able to hear my classmates' opinions and my teacher and learn how that coincides with our country's social justice system.
How have the dance and acting classes helped you prepare for entering the pageant world and competing?
A lot. With dance, it really helped me to develop a stage presence and not be weary of big crowds or performing. It also helped me not only learn to become a graceful winner, but a graceful loser too, which is really important for pageants because you're not going to win every one when there's only one winner. Acting helped me to develop my character, to become well-spoken, to be able to perform in front of a camera, speak to many individuals, connect with lots of different people from all over.
That's the number one thing people are afraid of, is speaking in public. Not for you?
Not for me.
At age 14, you won the title of Miss Lower Mainland. What did your parents say when you told them you were thinking of entering that competition?
At first, they were a little suspicious because, like anyone else, they've seen pageant stereotypes. They've heard horror stories and that it's discriminatory and non-inclusive and superficial. But I'm their daughter and they love me and they wanted to give me that chance. So it took a little bit of convincing, but they let me compete. Once my mom saw me on the stage and she watched me compete, they were 100% on board. Going to a competition like nationals is a little bit pricey. You're staying in a hotel for a week. There's lots of things that go into the competition, flights, training, dresses. It can get pricey, but my parents were so supportive. I remember when I was looking at dresses for nationals, and I already had 2 dresses that we had bought for provincials. My parents had said, no more dresses. You have two. You can pick one to wear at nationals. And I said, let's just look, Mom. Let's just look at this store, see maybe they're willing to sponsor me. And we're looking through, I try on a few dresses and I was like, okay, yeah, but you're not getting those. And then the store owner brought out this beautiful gold two-piece gown. It was just the most stunning gown I'd ever seen. My mom too. It was really expensive. I put on the dress and I came out of the fitting room and I stood on the platform and my mom was like, that is your dress. She loved it. I think she just loved seeing how happy I was. It sounds superficial, but I've always wanted to be a princess. That dress really made me feel like a princess. So she called my dad and she sent him photos and he said, get the dress. That's when I knew that they were going to be supportive with pageants for the rest of my life. They really have been. They truly are. That's still one of my favorite dresses to this date.
That's a great story. Part of the judging at these competitions is on a spoken topic, and I understand yours was on beauty is not skin deep.
Yes, my current platform really revolves around body positivity, but there's one major difference between my platform being beauty is not skin deep and others being body positivity. With body positivity, of course, I still support it. It's about being inclusive to every body type, shape, size, height, no matter the difference, where that's every body is beautiful. But mine is about really dissociating the idea of beauty with the idea of body. I don't ever want to relate somebody's beauty to the way they look. I think such a descriptive and intense word as something being beautiful should never, ever be associated with the way something looks, because there's so much more important parts of a person than what's on the outside. And that's what truly makes somebody beautiful. The impact they are leaving on the people they surround themselves with, their legacy that they're leaving. That's what makes somebody beautiful. The way they handle situations with grace and kindness and are unconditionally loving to others. That is what truly is beautiful about a person, not the way they look, in my opinion. That's really what I'm fighting for. I often say that although pageants are still about beauty, is no longer just about the way we look. And that is innovation.
Jessica, I understand from your time competing that you've seen some issues and perceptions that you would like to see changed or change yourself.
Yes. Growing up, I was looking up to these icons of beauty, international pageant title holders, world-class supermodels. They were what society deemed beautiful. Of course, being a young girl, I wanted to be beautiful. I wanted to be the most beautiful. It was what I was striving towards. But when I looked up to these icons, my heart broke because I didn't see myself in them. And I was fighting and I was pushing and I was striving to be like them, and it wasn't healthy. It almost destroyed me. Eventually, I had to let go of it, and it was crushing because I felt like I had accepted that I would just never get to be beautiful. I would never get to experience life as a beautiful girl. But as I got a little bit older, I decided instead of waiting for an icon of beauty to come along that I could see myself in, I would give kids, boys and girls, a role model that they had never seen before. That was real, that was authentic, that was attainable, and that wasn't obsessed with becoming one mirror image of everything else.
That's very positive. But since you've been crowned, you've said that you've also been the subject of negative comments and cyberbullying on your social media accounts. Could you tell us about that?
My social media accounts are a place where I like positivity to come alive. I never want people to feel that I'm inauthentic. So my posts range from my day-to-day life, dance, acting, school, to the big things like pageants, competing internationally, new photo shoots, and everything. Once I had started competing in pageants and that became a topic on my social media accounts, not only were there positive comments and people were happy for me, but there were people who were unhappy. I don't know if it's jealousy or they just didn't like me as a person, but they were not shy to speak out about the negative aspects of pageantry and tell me that I didn't fit into the pageant world, that I wasn't pretty enough or thin enough, that I was a loser, a joke. And how I react to a situation like that is I follow a famous mantra, kill them with kindness. I only respond with kind words. I never want to throw back at somebody the negativity that they're throwing at me. And if they don't respond to my kindness, then I simply block them on my social media accounts. Clearly, they're not happy with what I've chosen to do with my life. They don't like to see what I'm doing with my life. So it's better for them if they don't have to see everything regarding pageantry. It's better for me if I don't have to listen to their negative comments, because that's no way to live my life.
When Today in BC continues, Jessica MacNiel, Miss Teenage World, talks about her Make-A-Wish Foundation fundraiser and traveling to Ecuador.
You'll never miss a headline and stay informed with news that matters most to you when you sign up for Black Press Media's free newsletters. Get breaking news from your community delivered straight to your inbox, accessible on any device by the name you trust for reliable content. Visit your local Black Press Media community newspaper website to sign up today.
Today in BC is a Black Press Media podcast. I'm Peter McCully. Jessica, like any competition, whether it be sports or educational competitions, there's always the chance to make some new friends. And I understand that you became friends with Cassidy Stewart from Comox, Friends for Life.
Yes, I've made tons of friends in pageantry, Cassidy being a good one. She was the light of the competition. I feel so blessed to have met so many amazing individuals in pageantry. Some of my closest friends throughout the years have been Sarah Hunter from Ontario. I met her at Nationals 2021. Sadie Prue from Ontario. I met her at Nationals 2021. Sophia Leah, Clara Shemtov, Makara MacNiel. These are girls that I still talk to this day. We even have a group chat from both years that I attended Nationals where we message quite often. If anybody's competing in a new pageant, we all watch it. If anyone needs help with anything, any questions about other pageants or school, a lot of the girls from Quebec, obviously they speak French. So if one of us is struggling with our French homework, they help us. It's a really positive space for all of us. In my first pageant at Nationals, all of the girls, we were sitting in a circle outside after getting donuts one night after a long day of competing, and we were all talking about our favorite part of the pageant, and it was a really positive conversation. My favorite part I shared with the girls was that I finally felt like I had met my people, that I was surrounded by like-minded individuals who all had the same goal. That's something that people really don't understand about the pageant industry. They think that it exists with gossip and cattiness and that we're not authentic to each other, but that's just wrong. I've met some of the greatest girls I know in pageants, and it was a really fulfilling moment for me. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends. I wasn't the most popular because I was more focused on starting a career for myself in dance and acting and pageants in school. I had more sophisticated goals than my peers. And these girls understood those goals. These girls had those goals. And these girls commended each other for having those goals. So it was a turning point in my pageant career for me.
Your next competition was an online competition because of COVID restrictions. And then you were crowned Miss Teen World. Maybe you could tell us about that experience.
I had just gotten back from Nationals, and I already had a few competitions lined up for the next year. Miss Teen North America that I already competed for, and I won Miss Teen Pacific Provinces, which was the preliminary to Miss Teen North America. So I was pretty content with myself and my pageant future at that point until I saw that they were taking submissions to go to Miss Teen World in Ecuador. I was hard on myself. I thought I wasn't good enough, but I decided why not give it a shot. So I made my mom record all my videos. I submitted headshots and my pageant resume, and I had an interview. And at the end of all that, said, at least I tried. Then I got the email that I had been selected and was going to get to go to Ecuador in 10 days, which was insane. During this time of COVID, pageants have had to adapt, and I thought that organization had done a really great job of adapting to the circumstances, not being able to hold an in-person pageant due to the discouragement of travel. It was innovative, it was new, but it went really smoothly, and I'm very glad I did it.
How high did you jump when you found out you were going to Ecuador?
I hit the roof. I was so excited.
Since you were crowned, you've been concentrating on your fundraising and community service work. Tell us what you've been up to.
Since starting pageants just a few years ago, I have dove into many endeavors. I held many fundraisers for Make-A-Wish because my goal was to be able to grant one whole wish, which for those of you who don't know is $10,000. I haven't reached that goal yet, but because so many of my pageant sisters also have chosen to fundraise for Make-A-Wish, one year at Nationals, in total, the girls raising for Make-A-Wish raised $45,000. So 4.5 wishes were granted to kids across the country. So far, I've raised $5,000. So I've granted a whole half of a wish, which is not too bad. I feel pretty good about. To fundraise, I held bake sales, clothing drives, bottle drives, sold lemonade, and many people donated without asking for anything. They didn't need my baked goods. They didn't need my lemonade. They just did it from the goodness of their heart. I held online fundraisers where my family and friends and even locals in the community donated. It was really heartwarming to see people all coming together to support me and to support the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was beautiful, really. I also volunteered almost the entirety of my summer of 2021 at a nonprofit kids sleepaway camp. I did dishwashing, which was about 8 hours a day. But the people I met while working in the dish pit were amazing people. Lots of my friends were like, "Are you crazy giving up your summer to wash dishes for free?" No, I'm not crazy. You should see the people I get to spend those hours with. They're so positive and they never give up. And it's all coming from the goodness of their heart. I also got to work in the kitchen, cooking for the hundreds of campers we had. That's where I really got to learn from the leadership of the chefs. It was long hours, 12, 13 hours a day in the kitchen. But we play music, we have fun. I like to cook, and I learned a lot. But my favorite job was program because we get to run all of the games for the kids. We get to dress up in these crazy costumes and plan elaborate scavenger hunts. Find the princess. Then there's one of the staff members dressed like a princess with badges for the campers. It was a really great time, and I got to make friends for life there too. So it was definitely worth it. I've also attended events like the Scotiabank ASN Run for Autism. I really want to see what's out there for me. There's definitely more in store in my future, whether it be holding massive events to raise tons of money for different corporations, or whether it just be running more summer camps. Right now, I'm teaching summer camps at my studio, which is in a more of a developing neighborhood in the area. It's up and coming. It definitely needs more businesses for kids up. So I get to meet tons of amazing children that just want to dance all day long.
Sounds pretty interesting. You're only 16 years old, and I'm feeling that you've picked up a lot of experience. What's the message you have for young people?
My message is to just never compare yourself negatively to others and don't give up. I spent so much of my life comparing myself to other people that I thought were doing better than me. But you really can't do that because they're not you. They don't face the same challenges that you do every day. They haven't had the same life or experiences, and it's not worth it. You have to spend your life focusing on you because, in all honesty, your life revolves around yourself. You're the only person that is a permanent factor in your life. If you spend it comparing yourself to other people, you're going to miss out on all the amazing things that you could do.
Are there more competitions in your future, Jessica?
Oh, definitely. I'm going back to Ecuador in October to pass my crown. From there, I'm competing in Miss Teen North America next summer, which has been postponed for me for a few years due to COVID and then due to winning my international title. I decided to push it a few years. As of now, that's my only competition planned so far, but my goals in the future are to make it to Miss Universe. There's a lot of change that has to happen in the pageant world before somebody like me would be welcome to compete there, but I work every day for that change. My biggest downfall in pageantry is definitely my lack of patience for change. I was coaching a girl in the Miss category for the Miss Canada Inspiration pageant, and I was asking her practice questions. And my question was, what is your biggest flaw? That's a pageant question we get asked. And the number one answer is I'm a perfectionist, because that's something that's bad without it really being bad. But this girl told me that she struggled with patience. She wanted to see change, influential change happening now. She wanted it to be different tomorrow. But she told me that she had to be okay with the idea that change is slow. And although we don't see it right away, it is happening. After hearing that answer, I felt that it described my biggest flaw so well. It can be hard to coach delegates that are older than me competing in the Miss category, because people assume that they don't have respect for me. But so far, I've met nothing but kind individuals, and I really learn from them, because although I might have more pageant experience, they have more life experience, and it's really eye-opening to see the way that they answer questions and how it's different from the way girls in the teen category answer questions.
Have you decided what you're going to do on your career path as you finish your education?
I am slightly undecided. I have to apply to university in September, so I better get to deciding. I'm going to apply to a couple local schools and a couple East Coast schools. My main focus as of now is journalism. I want to study English in a major and journalism as a minor, and then hopefully enter the workforce after graduating as a journalist. My second career path is to be a teacher. I love kids. I spent the last 6-7 months working as a acting, art, and dance teacher at Arts Umbrella, and I loved it. Kids aren't always the nicest people to their teachers, but to go to work every day and to enjoy it is so important to me. I think perhaps I'll enter the workforce as a journalist for a few years and then get my Bachelor of Education and become an English teacher. So I get to bring a little bit of both into my career. We'll see.
I'd like to thank Jess MacNiel, Miss Teenager World, for being with us on this edition of Today in BC. If you have suggestions or comments, send a voice message to podcast@blackpress.ca. It may be part of our podcast mailbag segment. You'll find Today in BC podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, and Google Podcasts.